Well, it is not exactly the autumn wind, but for Raider Nation, it is indeed a very celebratory evening. And yes, this is a preview of Super Bowl 55, and we will get to that. But as the song plays in the background, and if you happen to be a fan of this team, you know exactly what this song means. Welcome to the Super Bowl 55 preview of the Mizzle and Dub Show. And as you can see, my tag team partner is in a very, very celebratory mood.
Well, for one, we have a first time ballot going in, Mr. Charles Woodson himself, and it took forever. If anybody knows anything about the Sandlot, to get Coach Tom Flores in there, took too long. So I applaud the Hall of Fame for finally getting it right. I'm still not happy. We got to get Cliff Branch in there next. Cliff Branch needs to be in the Hall of Fame next if we're just going to talk about it. I'm sorry.
Well, for one thing, it is definitely right for Mr. Baker to finally do it right, because I know a lot of Raider Nation football fans, myself included, was very, very upset. It had been passing of the snake, Kenny Stabler, to finally get his just due in his busting cannon. And obviously, if we watched the ceremony, you saw how emotional his grandchildren were when they unveiled the bus. And obviously, his former teammate, loved Snake dearly, was also a very emotional night for them. But for me, it's kind of emotional for me because obviously, for one thing, I'm half Latino, and Tom Flores is Latino. He was the first Latino head coach in the NFL, one of the first minority head coaches in the NFL, of course, done by the Maverick himself, the one only Mr. Al Davis. Flores, in a sense, like Al Davis, has been a lifelong Raider. The Raiders were born in 1960. He's the very first quarterback. Number 15. Man has won 4 Super Bowls. One is Lynn Dawson's backup as a chief in Super Bowl IV, but the 3 came in silver and black. He was John Madden's assistant when they won in Super Bowl 11, and was the head man when they won Super Bowl 15 and Super Bowl 18. And what people don't know, Tom Flores has a career playoff record of 8-3, which that is a 77 winning percentage, which makes him the second highest winningest coach in postseason history, who just happens to be being a man. Name is engraved on the trophy that the Super Bowl is being played tomorrow by the guy named Lombardi. So just put that into perspective of how of a coach Flores was, and for his players. And he coached some very great players: Marcus Allen, Howie Long, Ted Hendricks, Jim Plunkett, Cliff Branch, just to name a few, Lester Hayes, Mike Haynes, just to name a few. For them to finally see their coach, they love and admire, because Tom Flores is deeply beloved by his players that ever played for him in Los Angeles and Seattle. For them, this is a moment for them because they finally get to see their coach get his flowers. And also, kudos to Coors Light for pushing the issue with those commercials. So, certainly the Rocky Mountains certainly have helped. And I know for you, being born and bleeding the colors that are silver, I know it's a very, very, very emotional day for you, being love this team and have rooted this team through the good, the bad, the ugly, the horrible, and the absolute ridiculous. I mean, in your 38 years, you have seen your team go to 3 different cities, for crying out loud. But a football fan and as a football guy, certainly, I'm so happy for Tom Flores because, as I said, it's long overdue. Don't know
Too
why
long.
he had to wait this long because, as I've said, mostly all the other coaches that have won 2 Super Bowls, with the exception of Tom Coughlin, Bill Belichick, and George Seifert, rest are in the Hall of Fame, with Jimmy Johnson also in because he was selected, but obviously they did have the ceremony, but he was the last to join. But everybody that has won at least 2 Super Bowls as head coaches are in the Hall of Fame, with the exception of Tom Flores, and now Tom Flores is in. Switch, switching over, we already knew exactly he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, so it's a surprise that Jackson got the eruption during per se, but certainly the man really needs no, the man really doesn't need no reminder of his credentials. We're talking about one of the all-time greats to play corner and safety. He is one of the few, like Willie Brown, like Mike Haynes, like Deion Sanders. You did not throw the ball his way.
No,
Here,
not at all.
if you didn't hear his name called during much of the broadcast, that
He was doing
he
his
was
job.
doing his job.
Yes.
He had an interception.
Yes.
But certainly in the second span of the Raiders in Oakland, certainly indeed Charles Woodson was the heartbeat. And just when he came back home for the second time, just the pouring of love that Raider Nation
It
gave
felt
him,
right. It felt right.
he just said, "I gotta come back home one last time."
Well,
Obviously, first defensive player with my eyes control. That, I mean, in itself just says what it is. Defensive year was the main key of the defense when the Raiders went to the Super Bowl in 2002. Came back and led the way for the 2016 team, which that's always going to be the big what if, because who knows what they could have done if things panned out differently. But very rare you get to see 2 guys synonymous with that number 24 playing for one franchise, and both men are now taking their rightful place in Ohio. We all know that C-Dub is in your top 10 of all-time Raiders, so I'm going to let you take the floor as you salute guys, number 24.
well, watch that man at Michigan. Saw him win a Rose Bowl. Saw him win a Heisman Trophy. Then to get drafted number 4 by yours truly. I knew he was going to be special. And then his first pick was against Arizona, how he just walked in the end zone all flashy and everything, telling everybody to calm down, I'm here. And then I just saw a video of him playing wide receiver. And he did that hook route.
Against Ohio State.
Yeah. And then, I was talking about when he played wide receiver with the Raiders.
Yeah.
And he did that hook route. But yeah, that Ohio State game, he was just phenomenal. He was special teams, defense, offense. He was everywhere. You had to give him the Heisman Trophy that year. There was nobody doing anything better than Charles Woodson all around that year. I mean, Peyton Manning was but he wasn't doing. I mean, the Heisman Trophy is supposed to give to the most dynamic college player of that year, and Charles Woodson was the most dynamic player of the year. He solidified it when he did the Heisman Trophy pose. When he hit the Desmond Howard, hands down, he won it. But I was not only a fan of Charles Woodson when he was with the Raiders, I was also a fan of that man when he won a Super Bowl with the Packers. It pained me to see him win that Super Bowl in that uniform, but the fan in me was also happy because I know what he's done with the organization in Oakland. But I wish he would have won that Super Bowl against, John Gruden in Tampa Bay. But just to see what he was doing at his age when he came back for the second tour with the Raiders. I mean, out-schooling those young ones out there, Like, I don't know how you did not soak any knowledge up from that man while he was there. That is a walking legend right there. I'm taking notes. I'm in his mouth like you. And
I
the
I
one
think
play
one
he
of the
did.
things about Charles Woodson, uh, not to cut you off, I apologize.
No worries.
I think the one thing that I think the one thing that solidified his second return is how he was. I don't want to say hell bent, but he had written Peyton Manning in his book for picked off. And the two interceptions against him at the Coliseum. The first one, he is on the other side of the doggone field.
And just baptized
And
DJ Hayden.
Peyton throws the ball, and I'm like, here comes just Wilson just diving out of nowhere just to grab the ball.
Killed his own
But
teammate to get it because he wanted to
yeah,
intercept Peyton Manning.
he he wanted to put Peyton in his book. Yes, he did.
Yes.
But and I think just his final home game against the Chiefs or no, it was the Chargers, I believe.
Yes.
His
It was
final home
Christmas
game.
Eve. Christmas Eve.
Yeah, his final home game at the Coliseum, and just the whole out of Raider Nation gave him, and he just his final words, he just says, "Raider Nation, I'll never leave you," and he is as the old cliche goes that Al made famously, "Water always Raider," and that is true to form for one Charles Woodson.
Yes. I applaud that man's career. Yeah, it's great.
So, my friend, since this is really a celebratory day for you and your fellow members of Raider Nation, one football fan to another. Cheers, my friend. Congratulations on two deserving Raiders deserving to get there.
Yes, sir. Well,
Now,
like you said, we knew Charles was going to get it first ballot. That was hands down. That was going to happen without a shadow of a doubt. It's just that how Raider Nation petitioned to get Tom Flores in, Cliff Branch. I don't want to get started on how many Raiders should deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. If you're a true NFL fan of the sport, you already know. I shouldn't have to preach any longer about getting Cliff Branch in, and that's my last plug for Cliff Branch. But this was a good class. There's a few head scratchers. I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want to be biased, but there's a few head scratchers. But other than that, this was a pretty good class. I was impressed. We led the class with 2.
Well, here are
Class.
the inductees. Here are the inductees for 2021. Of course, we knew Peyton and Charles were getting in. Peyton, Manning, and Charles. We know they were getting in on first ballot. Eventually, I would have thought that Calvin Johnson would get in. I'm kind of surprised he is a first ballot, considering of how many
that's one head
great wide
scratcher.
receivers that had to wait. Because again, and this is just me speaking as a football fan. I don't know why it took that long for Chris Carter, Tim Brown, Andre Reed, James Lofton, so on and so forth. Why it took so long for them to get in. And plus, I'm still of this belief that Sterling Sharp should be in the doggone Hall of Fame. But that's another. Like we've said before, we can do a whole show of people that should be in Canton, Ohio, and they're not. So, I mean, he did his plug for Cliff Branch. As much as I want to, I'm not gonna do my plug for Roger Craig, but that's another story for another day.
No. You make a plug for High Knees. High Knees deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
He was Marshall before Marshall.
And a lot of folks don't know if you didn't say that name, and I just bust out High Knees, they wouldn't know that we were talking about Roger Craig. So that just lets you know, yes, I'm talking about the Niners. I am a Raider fan, but I do know my shit.
He does know his players. Bill Nunn is in. Alan Faneca, great guard for the Steelers. Obviously, we have covered the coach Tom Flores. John Lynch finally awaited and got his due, the third member of the Buccaneer defense to make the Hall of Fame. And for me, even though I despise and dislike everything that there is about the silver and blue and that doggone star in Dallas slash Irving slash Arlington, Texas.
He deserved it.
But finally, the original 88 that he made famous before Dez, before Michael Irvin, before Sedarius Lamb, Drew Pearson, finally getting his due after so many years, waiting for the call, waiting for the knock, obviously showing his disappointment. Finally, he gets his due, and certainly, if you didn't see Drew Pearson, go watch the film. Certainly one of the most dynamic receivers in the 70s with Cliff Branch, with Fred Blitnikoff, with Stallworth, with Swan, with Kellen Winslow, so on and so forth. Obviously, a key cog, one of Roger Staubach's favorite targets. And finally, he gets his long-awaited due. So kudos to Drew Pearson. So, we did say this is a preview of the Super Bowl, and we are going to do that.
Well, we might as well call it Hall of Fame / Super Bowl preview show because we did spend a good amount of time on the Hall. So well deserved.
Well deserved. So the setting is set. Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. The two teams are set. One returning for a second consecutive year, trying to be the first team since the 03-04 Patriots to repeat as Super Bowl champions. A team making its first trip in 18 years. And, of course, the talk is all around the certain quarterback that plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But as you can see by my disappointing look on my tag team partner / brother, my best friend of 24 years, this is a no-win situation for him again, like it was last year. But I think it's a little bit even worse because it involves that doggone quarterback that he just wants to choke out, which I'm sure Charles Woodson still does, even though they are both Michigan alums. So I'm pretty sure it's kind of a torn situation for Charles Woodson. Like, we're Wolverines, but damn it, you know that was a fumble. Anyhow, the Chiefs and Buccaneers are playing for the Vince Lombardi Trophy in Super Bowl double nickel. It's the first time Raymond James has hosted the stadium since the Steelers and Cardinals met in Super Bowl 43, which was a very low-key, very good Super Bowl. Oh, the passion is coming out of my tag team partner tonight, folks, as you can see. So, last we checked, the total for the game is 56.5, and the Chiefs came in as a 3.5 point favorite for those that are going through the ways of the yes.
Wow.
That is the current line. It really hasn't gone up or down or fluctuated, so definitely the Chiefs are still favored by half. The under is 56.5. It was originally 57.5, but it went down a point. Both teams, for the most part, are not having any serious injuries. There was a little bit of COVID issues. Obviously, this Super Bowl was different from most others, as mainly you didn't have the normal particular media night and the teams and the cities. The Chiefs just arrived this afternoon to Tampa. So, obviously, that's unique because normally they would be there the whole week. Obviously, Tampa playing in their home stadium, which is the first time that's ever happened. Gets the friendly confines of being at home. Because you might choke something before the end of the show, because this is, like I said, this is torture for him. This is kind of the same way I felt watching Super Bowl 49 between the Patriots and the Seahawks. So I understand his pain.
I mean, it would be better if Tom Brady wasn't the freaking quarterback, but here nor there. We'll get into that here.
So, as previously mentioned, the Chiefs back for the second straight year. This year they went 15-1, ran through the AFC again. So Andy Reid trying to join those coaches that have won back-to-backs, trying to join Shula, Lombardi, Chuck Noll, Jimmy Johnson, Bill Belichick, and it's a very hard task to do. As you can see, it's very hard to repeat in this league, which is why it almost has not happened in 17 years with the Patriots of 03 and 04. Said before the playoffs started, I said I really don't see anybody beating them or preventing the Chiefs from repeating. I have said, people have asked me who am I taking. I said, and I've always, quoted the Nature Boy: "To be the man, you have to beat the man." And right now, until they are beaten, the Chiefs still hold the trophy that everyone is trying to get. So the Buccaneers will try to get it. And you and I have talked about this off air about, who's going to stop the two key people in Kansas City. Who's going to stop number 10? Who's going to stop number 87? Obviously, this is a rematch. These two played on the same field. And Tyreek Hill in that particular game absolutely went berserk. Touchdowns for 269 yards and a couple of backflips into the end zone. So I say to you, my friend, I say to you, my friend, if you are defensive coordinator Todd Bowles of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who he likes to blitz a lot, what is your game? What is your game plan to try and stop this dynamic offense that Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy have put together?
Well, as this is a copycat league. Not trying to toot my own horn, but that one loss on that Chiefs record was yours truly. And even though the Chiefs scored, but when it came down to it, they had a spy on Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying always rush 3, but sometimes you might have to mix in rushing 3 and rushing 4. You know that if you blitz him, he's going to blitz you with his running around and throwing with his left and right hand and all that kind of stuff like that, and no look passes here and there. But if you eliminate his movement, I'm not saying that he can hang in the pocket and deliver a pass, but most of his spectacular plays has been on the move. When he's running and trying to create plays. When the play is broken down. When plan A breaks down, he's already on the plan E. So you got to eliminate those and eliminate the running game. I believe Hilaire can get loose. So it's going to come down to a lot of Devin White, where he's going to be at and who he's going to be lined up in. If you're going to put him on Kelsey, are you going to have him blitzing, play in the middle of the field? Everybody has to be on cue when it comes to playing the Chiefs, because at any moment they can have a crappy first quarter, have a decent second quarter, second half, all the way up. So somewhere it's going to have to stay consistent. Mix some stuff up. Don't continue to show Patrick Mahomes the same thing that he didn't see in week 2, that you thought that he's not going to notice because you're taking somebody else's defensive scheme or play or whatever. So keep it fresh and move Devin White around. I would have him phantom blitzing, coming down to the line, maybe backing up, causing some disruption, and letting Ndamukong Suh play football. I mean, rumble, young man, rumble. Let that boy go crazy. They got Vita Vea back, correct?
Correct.
Huge.
He played in the
huge
game.
Huge. And JPP gonna make a little. He gonna let you know I'm still here. So they just gotta do what they've been doing when the other teams was supposed to come in and just crap down their throat. Play that defense. Continue to play that defense.
Well,
but try to eliminate Patrick Mahomes' movement.
Well, not to mention that dude, Devin White is going to be a huge key. I also think the other linebacker, Levante David, has to have a huge role, and that's to have a huge game as well. Now, maybe you could have switch up, honestly, because again, you may not be able to stop him. You want to try to contain him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's real tight end playing wide because running routes like it's for a size that's absolutely ridiculous. But, as the old cliche goes, you live by the blitz, you die by the blitz.
Facts.
It's certainly a very unique dynamic. I mean, both head coaches are very offensive-minded and are very good play callers. Obviously, we know that Dave Arians is not afraid to risk it, and of course, one of the things is no risk it, no business. So it's certainly a dynamic. Although I do agree that we should try to ball with Edwards, Hilaire, and Williams, and maybe perhaps even let Le'Veon Bell run the ball. You never know. But the key here for me is Antoine Winfield back. He did not play in the NFL game, so that's in a sense 3 weeks of rest for him. And he's definitely got to be that man playing center field because you cannot let the cheetah get it out the blocks and run circles around him because he is a very fast man.
Well, him or Kelsey's going to get his. It depends on who do you want to eliminate the most of. I would most likely want to take out Tyreek Hill because he's the one that's going to take over the top. So I would rather try to focus on trying to get him somewhat shut down because you're not going to shut him down. I mean, he's going to do what he's going to do. 230 some odd yards in the first half of football. It's ridiculous. So, but then again, this is the Super Bowl. When we're talking about the big name players, it's not even the big name players that be making the huge plays. It's the guy that was making semi plays through the, you heard of him because, of course, Patrick Mahomes is going to find him. It's going to be that guy that you're like, didn't see him having a big game. You thought it was going to be Kelsey or Hill. It could be Sammy Watkins. It could be the other multiple receivers that the Chiefs have. So I just got to watch out for everybody. And that goes both ways. It could be Mike Evans. You think Mike Evans or Gronkowski should have a good game. It could be, is it Ronald Jones? The running back?
The rookie? The running back.
The Buccaneers. Rookie Jones. Now, his last name is Jones. I know that.
Ronald Jones, yes.
Yeah, it could be him. It could be Goodwin. It could be Scooty, who thinks he's faster than the cheater. He can kick rocks with that one. So it's not.
He is fast, but he's not fast. He's not 4.2 flat fast.
No, the only one that I can see that could probably hang with Tyreek Hill, I hate to say it, is Henry Ruggs III. The man ran a 4.2 at the combine. Yeah, that's about the only person that's
pretty fast.
Yeah, that's spectacular speed. But the deep, again, as I said in the playoff shows we did, it comes down to what team is going to make that one critical stop on defense. And if they take advantage of it, that's how I think it's going to come down to.
And that was the mistake the Packers made by not capitalizing on those gifts that they were given. Because we kept saying, it may come down to a turnover, or who forces the turnover, and what they do with it. And again, Brady gave you 3 gifts, and Rodgers and the Packers didn't do anything with it. And that's why you're sitting at home, like you and I, watching the game with somebody else. And I know this whole thing has been focused on Brady, and at times it gets very nauseating. But the simple fact that if somehow the Buccaneers win, how one particular guy can have rings than a franchise.
More than the Steelers. More than the Cowboys.
More than the
Niners. And see, that's now. I know you're gonna.
25 years.
I know you're gonna ask me this question, so you might as well just go ahead and get it out the way because it's coming. You're gonna ask me who I'm picking in this game, and what I was gonna tell you because I had the whole thing all plotted out, as I mentioned earlier.
I bet you.
If it wasn't for Tom Brady, this would be a clean sweep to pick the Buccaneers to win. Now, I'm still on the fence of picking the Buccaneers because damn Chiefs, and I'm a Raider fan. And I'll be damned if I pick them to win the Super Bowl. I didn't pick them last year. Just as well, I didn't pick the Niners to win the Super Bowl. I was a fan. But I got to go with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, man. I just don't want the Chiefs. And I don't want to hear Shaggy's mouth for another year. Point blank, period. And we will tag him to watch this video. I don't want to hear another Chiefs. I can't do it. I can't. So I'm going with super. What did I call him? Super smooth Tom Brady. That's what I'm going with.
You've been that forever. Now, fortunately for Shaq, he was more nice to me when his team came back to beat my team, but all the other Niner fans got it worse. And I mean, I try to tell Shaggy, be humble, but of course, Shaggy was 25 beers in. And of course, you know, for a team that hasn't won it in 50 years, I can understand his great elation because we were that way when the Giants finally broke through 11 years ago.
You damn right.
So,
you damn right.
So, I mean...
Hey, tell Mama to preach in the background. Keep telling Mama to preach in the background about them Giants. It's okay. We love it. We love it. Yes.
I definitely will say this. If I agree, if Brady wasn't the quarterback, I definitely would easily pick Tampa because, again, I like Bruce Arians as a head coach. He is the only guy that his main...
I was going to say, can we give up to Brian Leftwich?
Yes. But, I mean, most of his main assistant coaches are African American. Special teams coach, his defensive coordinator,
staff.
With his brother. And I commend Bruce for that. But, again, I there's really only one time I've ever rooted for Brady in a game. And that was the first Super Bowl against the Rams because, of course, the Rams played in my division. And at that time, they were the greatest show on turf, and that offense was just very dynamic. So I always root for the underdog anyway, because that's just, that's just what you do. You root for the underdog because it's your team.
Correct.
And even then in that game, I was just how he just really showed no. And I just remember back to the last drive that set up the Vinatieri game field goal in Super Bowl 36, and how John Madden will adamant about I wouldn't do it if we would play for overtime. Just, a glimpse of what eventually he became. Now, here comes the part where I don't want to talk about it, but all the conspiracy people are out there about, it's just coincidence that Brady goes to Tampa. Tampa's hosting the Super Bowl. Oddly enough, it just had to have been Brady to be the guy, the starting quarterback of the team that gets to play at home in the Super Bowl for the first time ever.
Blasphemy!
Excuse
me, man. Ooh, that dust is flying around in here.
I'm and this is my hope. I am hoping that the players play, and there's no fix, and no fix. My hope. Because again, I'm still just a little bit mad that for most of the NFC title game that you and I watched, for the most part of that game, Brett Levin played. I have a problem with all of a sudden the last 5 minutes of the game blowing whistles and throwing the flag. Because there have been times to where the flag should be thrown earlier in that game.
Easy.
I mean, the dude, you can clearly see the Lazard shoulder pads coming out of his jersey. So we're not going to throw the flag. But, guys grabbing on, holding.
Yeah.
This is where I have a problem. But I will also say kudos to the NFL because we will have our woman official that is will be officiating in 55.
Yes.
They turn into female being a lead official in Super Bowl. That will definitely come down the line, but that's definitely good to see. It's definitely going to be weird having a crowd of only 52. Kudos for giving 7,500 of those tickets to first responders or healthcare workers in the hospital. So kudos to them for doing that.
Yes.
It definitely will be. It definitely will be dynamic. Um, but again, I just can't pick Brady. I've picked the Chiefs. I'm sticking with them. Chiefs just have too much firepower on offense. Uh, and I mean, during this playoff run, Brady has looked like he's 40, and at times he has shown ownership of himself. Um, if it turns into a shootout, I don't think
It's the Chiefs.
Can,
Yeah.
can play a track meet.
Yeah.
Certainly I think the biggest X factor in this game certainly are the two backs, but more so than Fournette. Fournette might have to be a bell cow like he was in Jacksonville to control the and limit the Chiefs' possessions. I think if they can, that Tampa stands a very chance to win because again, it's been shown that Mahomes can look human. I mean, we just can go back to last year for the first 3 quarters of that game. My beloved Niners defense made him look like human, and unfortunately, 3rd and 15 happened. Now we all know what happened after that. So,
and the guy stepped out of bounds.
It's going to come to. They would have scored anyway.
You did say that fact.
I'm just being one. They would have scored anyway because the momentum was clearly on the outside. And I know other Diner fans would be like, well, both as hell. I get it, stand it, but you know, you don't call, but you still have to go out there and play defense and still make a stop. And you can do this, ask for the flag all you want to, and plead your case all you want to, but at the end of the day, you still have to go and make. They did, and they lost. And thus, I was, highly upset for a few days after that. Not as you were 17 years ago, which I felt your pain, and I really felt, hard for you.
Yeah, let's not bring up old
but I felt that pain. But I really would wish that the media would just calm down on trying to call Mahomes baby. Let's just slow down. He's only been a starter for 3 years, and he's done some amazing things in his 3 years as starter.
Yeah.
But the man has only won one ring. He's trying for a second. Give him this thing. Baby, go. Let's just slow roll. For crying out loud, the man puts catch on steak.
Well, they throw that word out very easy now. I mean, you win yourself a ring, or you do this, you MVP, you're a GOAT, or you're amazing, or this, that, and the third. You ain't even played enough football yet to be considered all that. So I don't know.
I agree wholeheartedly. I think also a key, another X factor that not a lot of people are talking about, is the fact that Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve has had very good success against Brady. He is 3-2 lifetime against Brady. Of course, was the defensive coordinator in 2007 when the Giants had the upset of the 18-0 Patriots in Super Bowl 42. So It's definitely nothing that Steve's penalized and seen before, so he definitely knows Brady's traits. And of course, the secret has always been if you can get pressure with four, good chance. And
there's a chance.
with
There's always a chance.
So with Chris Jones and Danny Clark,
Huge.
those two,
Yeah,
mess up the time. Because it was Chris Jones and Danny Clark that messed up the rhythm in the fourth quarter, and that's why Garoppolo suspect in the fourth quarter, and that's why now fans are calling for him to leave because of the impact and Danny Clark had.
Yeah.
You know, I was extremely happy when Danny Clark left the Seahawks because he was a thorn 2 times all in the Super Bowl, and you're damn it. But I think the game will be a very dynamic game. I think a very entertaining game. But I just still think the Chiefs have too much firepower on offense, and I think the Chiefs definitely want to prove that last year is no fluke, and they want to see, or they want to, they are the next perhaps dynasty in waiting in the NFL. That remains to be seen. And one thing you don't want to have is a three-way tie for Super Bowls in your division. That's the one you don't want to see, and doesn't make you want to grow up with the fact that you actually picked one.
Did I pick the Buccaneers?
No, I'm just saying. Do I need some Listerine because I know that probably just put up in your phone like I just said that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll have to grow up. I have this to clear out anything that I say that does not go along with the code. This will help rinse out all that nasty filth.
the cognac, ladies and gentlemen, it will cleanse them. Switching over for a split second, some sad in boxing. Learned and found out that former heavyweight champion of the world and former Olympic gold medalist Leon Spinks has passed away. Of course, Leon Spinks' claim to fame was one of the 5 men, the greatest. And in 78, split he definitely defeated Muhammad Ali, although Ali went back a few minutes. Leon Spinks was known for having no faith in his grill, which obviously later. But obviously Leon suffering from a lot of pain. Obviously, you think of his brother Michael, who's another former heavyweight champion. So that is a pride. Two brothers, the former world heavyweight champions, and as previously the league was a Olympic that we greatness of one Charles Lennon. So definitely some prayers to the family of Leon Spinks, who at least on one evening you can say that he truly was the heavyweight champion.
Indeed.
But obviously, this is one of the great days that wait for Super Bowl Sunday. And even though some of us still think that it should be in the United States, who knows? Maybe one day that might actually turn into a bill and that turn into a law because it's very, very, it's a very celebratory day. And certainly the team and the Buck of Horse ready to cheer teams on, and certainly us as football fans are ready to watch, but also to be a sad day because there will be a lot of fans crying until at least the draft.
It's the end of football.
I know how sad you get time.
Well, you know what? I'm actually I'm actually looking forward to next month though. That's when free agency picks up. So it's not like it's a major drop off. We just got a few weeks to go, and then that's going to pick up, and then we'll have the draft, and then that's where it'll really start hurting. Because we get no preseason game, we get no training camps. They're still doing virtual meetings and stuff like that. So I'll be pretty good until after April, and then that's where they start hurting. But unfortunately, hopefully, we'll have baseball.
Hopefully by then, the Love 76 will be making a push for a title, to which perhaps there might be a possible reunion. JJ Redick perhaps coming back to, who knows? That's
It's too many shooters on the too many shooters. But you can never have too many shooters.
They say, you can never have enough. Yeah, you can never have enough in the national basketball. As we saw with Ward and Luka just going back and forth, mano a mano. But unfortunately, Will's 57 was not enough.
Nope, not enough.
It was not,
hell of an effort.
It was not enough. And yeah, great.
Yeah.
And just why, ladies and gentlemen, the tag team did say he is going with the Buccaneers. He just can't. The Raider in him cannot. The Raider in him just can't.
No.
It's like Mike Singletary.
Can't do it. Won't do it.
Do it.
Nope. If I'd have said the Chiefs, I'd have probably had to end the show right then and there. I'd have just been like, we got to do this all from the top. This is just not right.
He's like, cut.
Yep.
Cut, throw it away. Okay. Cut, throw it away.
Yeah, we're going to just not put this out there for anybody to hear.
But as we always say, don't forget to subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Hopefully, by the next time we do our show, hopefully we will have our theme song as our lab making a beat to try and incorporate the song. So hopefully, next time we do have a song, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Of course, we always love your subscriptions, and of course, any ideas or topics you want to discuss. We are an open book. Do this for y'all. So let us know. So we'll have a closing segment. I will let my partner lead off. This is 30-second rapid fire segment.
I don't think I have much to say, but Raiders. Beautiful day for us Raider fans. Beautiful day. We got the coach in. We got the GOAT. There's nothing else to be said, man. I'm just going to end it with that. Good high note. And I hope for a good football game. And, yeah, that's it. I can't say go Buccaneers, but, yeah, go Buccaneers. Yeah, that's it. Like I said, when I said something pretty bad that didn't go right with the palate.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
This is for Raider Nation, and to cleanse out my filthy mouth for saying go Buccaneers. Cheers.
Oh my goodness. Oh, good Lord.
Was that enough passion for you?
Well, you definitely gave some passion tonight, that's for sure. I just want to say that if you did not catch the 30 for 30 about Al Davis and Pete Rozelle, please watch it. Yes, they were great rivals. Yes, they didn't particularly care too much for each other, but there was always a deep admiration and a deep respect for one another. And I mean, even Al Davis attended the man's funeral. That goes to show you what kind of a man Al Davis was. Even he could put his beef aside, be like, you know what, I had disagreements, but I still respect you. So again, I would just say, check out the 30 for 30 between Al Davis versus the NFL. It's on ESPN Plus. So if you don't subscribe. It's a definite must. 30 for 30. With that said, boys and girls, and children of all ages, This was our Super Bowl preview show. He's picking the Buccaneers. I'm picking the Chiefs. And of course, his beloved former coach and number 24 are in the Hall of Fame. As you can see it in his background, it is certainly a day of celebration for the Raider Nation. Do you have a score? We did everything else but give a score. Do you have a score predicament?
27-23 Buccaneers.
Oh, that is his pick. That is his score pick, I should say. I'm going to go, I'm going to say 35-31, Kansas City. I think it's going to come down to one of those, whichever quarterback has the ball last, did they leave too much time on the clock for them? I think that's what it's going to come down to. Whoever scores, how much time did you leave them? And I think it's going to I think it's going to come down to one of those. Whoever has the ball last and they have enough time, the inevitable might happen. But we certainly hope you enjoy the show as much as we enjoy bringing it to you, and we hope you enjoy watching Super Bowl 55. As you can see, Super Bowl 55. Yes. And for those that want to watch an Habla Español, it'll also be on ESPN Deportes. So,
Si, senor.
Get your fix on however you want to watch Super Bowl 55. Again, we thank you for allowing us into your home.
Indeed.
Until this is the Mizzle and Dub Show. He has been all rated out. I am Dub. In the background, James, as we say, so long for now. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and we will hope to see you on the other side sooner. And good night, America.
Peace.